What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. In today's episode, I'm going to break down my trades from the day. I'm sitting in the green right now at, $26,553.22. Not bad, a solid green day. Not as much as I made on Monday and Tuesday, but that's all right. 5 times the $5,000 daily goal. Got nothing to complain about. All right, so today, my routine, same as any other day, sat down early, looked at the scans at about 6:30 in the morning, and I saw SNOA was already up over 100%. So I was like, okay, I'm familiar with that stock. We've traded it before. When I sat down here at 7 a.m., right at the top of the hour, I took one trade on it. I made $3,600. I got back in, I lost $1,600. So I'm up $2,000 on SNOA, and I was like, all right, this one's a little choppy. I don't want to keep trading it anymore. Let's just leave that at that and wait and be patient to see if something else pops up. So, and then fortunately, we got that stock. It only takes one that had news and gave us a 100% squeeze. So if we jump onto the charts here, you can see ENSC. This is the stock that made the biggest move today. And you can see my profits on SNOA right here, which was 2,000. So I had 2 trades, one winner, one loser on SNOA, and I'm up $2,000 on it. So we'll look at the SNOA chart first. This one, it's one of these stocks where it really made the move after hours. That's where you got that big spike, and then pulled back, pops up, pulls back, squeezes higher at 4 a.m., sort of rallies, nice pullback there. And I got a little trade on it right here going into 7 a.m. So it was a small winner, nothing that exciting. Ends up selling off, breaking below VWAP, and there's just no other setup that's formed on it, so no other trades. So with that first trade, I broke the ice. I got green. Now, I think it was yesterday on gels, or was that Monday? No, it was yesterday. So yesterday on gels, I had a similar trade. It was my first trade, like right at 7 a.m., and that gave me about $4,200 of profit, which was a little bit of a bigger cushion yesterday. So today I was hoping SNOA would, kind of give me that cushion, like $4,000 or $5,000, like my daily goal, basically. So then I'd be able to take more risk if something else popped up. But that didn't quite happen. I made some, but not a lot. So immediately I was kind of like, all right, let's be a little more cautious. So that was 7 a.m. So then I'm sitting here, and I'll look at my scanners here. We'll scroll back here a little bit. So then I'm sitting here basically just watching to see if, anything is going to pop up with news. So 6:45, that was SNOA, boom, 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 hitting the scanners. Okay, that's fine. AGRI. All right, so this one, it's in the cannabis sector as well. Another one in the cannabis space. I wasn't feeling it. I just was like, it's a little cheap. It's a stock that doesn't really have a history of doing anything special, and I have seen it before. Way, way, way below the 200 moving average. So I don't know. I said, I don't think it's going to work. So that was that one. UPXI. Some traders, some of you guys were like, oh, this one looks great. First daily candle to make a new high. And I was like, yes, you're right. It is first daily candle to make a new high. But what about this, big red candle from Tuesday, or Monday? This kind of, it's hard to feel good about this pattern when you have that big rejection. So, this was nice, but then all the way back down, ascending resistance. It did break it here, but there's no news for it today. So I just felt like if this had been a green candle and more of a bull flag, I might have traded it. But this felt like a dead cat bounce off the low at best, and I just didn't think it was really worth it. So no trades on UPXI. And that took a little discipline because it was squeezing up, and I was like, oh man, and we had a really nice 1-minute pullback there. You know what? Let's do a pop quiz. All right, time for a pop quiz. We're going to do it right now. Okay, ready? Pop quiz. Let's see. Let me get this zoomed in just right. Okay, so I'm going to go just like that. Okay, so no, I want to make sure you can't see that candle. All right. Okay, pop quiz. We've got a stock right here, UPXI. Now, if we look at the scanners, what you can see is that the stock has been hitting our scanners right here. It's popped up, 800,000 share float, low float, light on volume. The previous couple of days show that it made a huge move, dropped down, and is bouncing back up. So on this pattern right here, do we take the trade? So for me, even though this is a nice candlestick pattern, the answer generally is going to be probably not, because there's not a strong catalyst, and I don't expect a lot more volume to come in. So what ends up happening on this one, let's move forward, boom. It does resolve, it does move higher, but it doesn't sustain that level. So could you have made money on it? You could have. The MACD was positive. You had nice volume, higher volume buying, lighter volume selling, but without a strong catalyst, it wasn't really logical to expect this to go very high. And so as a result, I didn't want to take the risk thinking that the upside potential was already fairly limited. So that was UPXI. There's your little pop quiz for the day. Now on ENSC, when this one pops up, now it's a little bit of a different story. So let's look at this. So let's see, we'll get zoomed in on this one. So let's see. So we could back this up here. Yeah, I mean, even back here. So this isn't necessarily as good for a pop quiz, but so ENSC hits the scanners right here, pops up to 250, drops down, pops back up to 270, up to 280, up to 290. So right here as it pops up, I saw it on the scanners. So how do I see it? It's hitting my high day momentum scanner right here. So ENSC right there, 275, 275. It's hitting my scanner, and I see it's got news that just came out at 8 a.m. So it receives U.S. patent for groundbreaking treatment of opioid use disorder. And, you know, opioid use disorder is obviously a significant problem in the world. U.S. patents, Patent Trademark Office headlines don't usually work super well, but it's a low-flow biotech stock with news. And so as it was squeezing here, what did I already see? Volume was surging into it. And so as it came right up here, basically this was the micro pullback, and then again right there. And that's where I took my starter for the breakthrough 3. It breaks 3, it dips down for a second, ends up hitting a high of 344, which is pretty good. Pulling back, we got another micro pullback right there. I added for the break of 350. We get up to then 360, 370. We squeeze all the way to 4. I added right up here for the break of 4. It ended up topping out, and we got a little shooting star candle, and it dips back down. So I did try to get back in for the break back over 4. It sort of stalled out, dips down, went again, but just to 405, pulls back. So it wasn't able to give us that big convincing breakout that I wanted. However, we let it hold up, and it doesn't fail. This is an opportunity for it to potentially fail. So here, as it failed this breakout, it could have easily rolled over and come all the way back down. It didn't. It held up, and right here pulled away for the next leg higher up to about 450. Micro pullback there up to 460. So, you know, overall, this ended up giving us some really nice moves. Does another pullback right here, a little bit longer, and squeezes up towards 5, hits a high of about 520 before dipping back down. So, you know, basically in this area here, we just had nice, strong momentum. On the 1-minute chart, MACD was positive. And generally, one of the things that I found as a rule of thumb is that I make the most money when the MACD is positive. So this little window right here was where I was up like 23,000, 22,000 on it. And I made a little bit more up here. However, this was an interesting divergence because look at the MACD. The MACD was negative when we had this breakout. Now, I didn't take that entry right there at 450. I did not buy because the MACD was negative. However, the 5-minute chart was showing a bull flag pattern right here. It was extended off its 9-moving average, but it was right around volume weighted average price. So I probably could have taken the risk of taking that position, even though the 1-minute was giving me this negative signal, but because the 5-minute was strong, but I just wasn't totally sure about it. So I didn't, and that was okay. It's better to be, you know, safe than sorry. So anyways, I missed that trade, but then it squeezes up here, and I did take a trade up here for the break of 5, but then we got a shooting star candle, a pullback, and then a false breakout on the 1-minute. And that false breakout on the 1-minute on higher volume selling, that kind of, to me, felt like probably the end. I said the only way it can recover that now is if it, you know, goes sideways for a while, creeps back up, and has good sustained volume to help us recover from this drop. And that just didn't happen. So, you know, not a super surprise. You just never know. I mean, the last couple stocks have made big moves like UPXI. This one certainly did give us more at the opening bell, went all the way up to, you know, $18 and then $22 a share. TIVC yesterday, however, basically peaked in pre-market, and I missed the beginning of the move, but then pulled back at the open. So ENSC is a little bit more similar to that at this point. And it'll be interesting to see if we have anything that holds up going into the afternoon, Because if we don't, then I'm probably going to be a little concerned tomorrow that, yes, there's an opportunity in a window to trade these, but definitely don't overstay my welcome. Although, again, probably part of the issue was that the catalyst itself was not the most substantial catalyst we've ever seen. Yeah, I think that probably, if it had been a stronger news headline, I think that certainly would have helped. So, that's a variable. Tomorrow we could get a stock that really has legitimately a great headline. And then from that, I'm able, to understand upside potential, downside risk, and maybe do significantly better. But part of my issue today was that on my first trades on SNOA, I didn't get much of a cushion. So then when I started trading ENSC, I was like, all right, well, I'm still sort of warming up. And ENSC just squeezed so quickly that by the time I was able to take full size, it was pretty extended. And so my full size positions on it actually ended up being, one of them was like a 4-cent, 5-cent winner, which could have easily been a loss, and the other was a loser. So, it was like small size increasing, and then biggest position, and then biggest position, which would have worked great if this had kept going higher like UPXI did the other day, but in this case, it did not pay off. So anyways, now I've got nothing to complain about, sitting at 26,000 on the day. That puts me at, let's see, about 130, 40,000 on the week and about $375,000 on the month. So, even though we've been in this highly volatile market with the tariffs and everything else, right now I'm seeming to trade it pretty well. I don't know how long that'll last, but when the market's hot and the windows are open, I'm going to try to capitalize on it, knowing that that's going to have to tide me over when inevitably we do go through a cold streak, because that's the way trading always is. It's hot and cold, ups and downs. So that's where I'm at here to finish the day. Those of you guys who are tuning in, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, I do hope you hit that thumbs up. I hope you hit the thumbs up. I do hope you hit the subscribe button. And I'll put a link to a full training on how to perform technical analysis the right way here, which I think you guys will enjoy, and it'll help you just in your process of learning how to read these candlestick charts and how to understand levels of support and resistance. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy. A reminder, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk, take it slow. And I'll see you guys back here bright and early. I'll be streaming 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.